Okay, in this video, I'm going to show you ways to contact the customer, which you may not have considered. And these are very strategic ways. What we're going to try and do is warm up the contacts. So you're going to send something to them, and we're going to try and butter them up a little bit. We're going to try and get them to see kind of what state of mind that they're in order to be more receptive to a little bit more of an intimate live interaction with you somehow. Um, Whether that be through, physically walking in if they're in proximity, or by phone call, which is a little, for a lot of people is something that's not they're not comfortable with. So these are the ways that I reach out to customers. I'm going to actually give you a real case study on one that I actually landed using this method, using these tactics right here. Usually, what I like to do first is email them. And the reason why is because unless I'm in in need of some customers, I'm replacing somebody else, or whatever the case might be locally. Like if it is a lot easier for me, for my personality type, to go ahead and just go and get a customer by walking in, shaking hands, toes to toes, nose to nose with people. But I understand not everybody's that way. So I've devised a way to reach out to them first, and I like doing email first. Direct mail works as well. I've had, but obviously that takes a little bit more capital. However, um, it's effective. It works, and it's hard to throw away when, especially when they open it and they're staring at it and they're looking at it, unless they're a little slightly psychotic. So I hope you like these examples and put them to use. Anyway, so once we've found the email, right, we're going to use a tracking service. Okay, I like using whoreadme.com. Whoreadme.com basically is a tracking service which, let's go ahead and open it real quick. You may want to invest, throw some money their way and have the ability for them to track up to, I think it's 500 emails a day or something like that. Whatever the case may be, it's worth it. I love this service. All you got to do when you send an email, I'll actually do one live for you. Basically, what you want to do, and let me actually show you that I am tracking emails. You can see all of the emails that I've sent out. Um, I can send 520 tracked emails today, and it'll start all over again tomorrow. But basically, look at this. Look at how many emails I've sent out not that long ago, and it didn't take me very long to do this. And I did this in one vertical, or in one niche segment. But I've been doing this for a while. This is how I've gotten leads. This is how I've trained people to get leads. So I suggest you use this as well. It's a powerful tool. All you have to do with whoreadme.com is append the when you send out an email, you enter in the normal email in a who to who's it being sent to field, and then you just add .whoreadme.com once you've set up your account, and it'll automatically track using that appendage. It's amazing. So what does it look like when they actually open the email, right? So basically, you sent an email out, right? And so when they actually open it, you'll see. Look at how detailed this thing is. You can see how long they were looking at it. They were reading this one for more than 10 minutes. The browser they were using, what system they were using, what the weather was like, what their IP address is, where they were, and then look, they did it again on a day ago, at 11:30 in the morning. So they opened it a little while later. Again, they were staring at it for 10 minutes. So this is an interested person, right? You understand the mindset of this person. They're reading your email. If you're curious to see exactly what I sent to this person, or what you're sending out, it even allows you to review the message that you sent. You see here, I actually sent this one out. I said, thanks, click here to check this thing out. Um, this one was a follow-up email, by the way. I knew the guy had already opened, but he said, oh, I wasn't too sure. Based on what he tells me, I'm going to go ahead and work with that. I don't try to corner them, but basically, this is what I did. I sent them to a page. Don't waste any money on marketing efforts unless you can answer this one specific question. How can you tell if the marketing you've spent your hard earned money on is working? Well, if your phone is ringing, of course, that's a good start. But how do you know it came directly from the marketing dollars you've spent and not from something else? After all, You don't want to waste a dollar unless you can be sure that you'll get your dollar back and then some, right? Too often, marketers try to sell you on things like search engine rankings, fancy and expensive websites, getting a thumbs up or a hoot or a math symbol press on your social media pages, and other distraction metrics that simply don't matter. The only thing that should matter is, are customers calling you? Besides, that's how your customers are used to doing business with you anyway, right? The way it works is like this. Customers. Okay, so I let you see some of that video. So basically, you get the gist of, what it is that they're seeing, right? And then I asked for an immediate response. All I'm doing is asking them to call me. Need more information? How to get your phones ringing with desperate auto repair customers. Basically, my long form sales letter. This letter took, it was a labor of love here, right? But it took me about maybe 2 or 3 hours to write, and it ended up being, a really long letter. However, it works very well because it keeps them engaged and it does the selling for me, or at least butters them up really well. And I do have an opt-in. Nobody's actually really used this just yet. It's just there by default, and at least as another mechanism should they decide to do that. Um, and the idea is that they're looking at this email. Hopefully, they're going to respond to me. And I've had people call me. That's usually what to do. Um, but I am not going to wait for them to call me personally. I like knowing that this guy over my email. So typically, my response would be something like, "Hey, Ryan," or I guess that's what this guy's name was. Um, I know that you. I basically call him and say, "Hi, Ryan. I sent you an email. I'm just following up to see that you got it. My name is Carlos, and it was regarding this. Did you see that?" And they usually respond with one or two answers. It's usually, what is this about? 'Cause they're stalling, right? They're not usually giving in too much, or it's like, yeah, yeah, I got your email. Yeah, it's totally interesting. What is this about? Different tones, and I use those as responses that I cover in more detail in other courses. But basically, the gist of it is, I go over the fact that I'm not trying to force them into anything. I'm just wondering if they've seen what I've sent them, right, and allowing them to work, to maneuver with that. And if they're receptive, I'll get one type of response, and it usually is a positive feedback. And then I simply go in for to take it to the next step. I don't force them in anything. I just ask them whether or not to be interested, or if this is something that they're looking for help with. um, but at least the email is an indication for me that the person is interested. See, because these people now, let me go back here. These weird these envelope, the email was delivered. It doesn't have the check mark. If it doesn't have the check mark, I don't bother with these people. It wasn't open yet. That means it wasn't open yet. This one there was a problem, so the email didn't get delivered. So I know that this person didn't get it, but everybody else is fine. And some people, I've sent things, you know, a while ago, and they open it today, and I just get a notification. That's when you follow up. Very timely. So you're not wasting your time calling everybody. That's part of the problem with direct mailers. You send out a mailer, you got to call them to see if they got it, because you still don't know. There's no tracking mechanism really in place there unless you've included it within your package. But this is powerful right here. I love this. And not everybody's looking at it. Not everybody's going to get it. But the ones who do, you can be sure you can contact with more confidence and more accuracy into their mindset, with their, where they're at with it. So that's the email. Okay. Using the tracking service whoreadme.com. Okay. Now you've sent your email, and another way to, that's one way to contact the customer. You're either waiting for them to call you back, or what have you. I didn't notice, I didn't put in here phone call, but I should, right? That's obviously one that you want to include in there. But you could follow up, using just the phone. I can't believe I didn't include that. We'll just put it right now, phone. But I usually use that as follow up. Phone follow up. Okay. So the walk in is, if you're doing things in proximity and you're sending this stuff out, it's great to follow up by simply, stepping in and shaking hands with whoever it is that you, and simply, I do it personally. I just do it with as a courtesy, because people still like doing business with people. They don't like this anonymous sort of talking to the computer, or the people want to be able to know who they're working with, and the only way that they usually feel most comfortable in business is still face to face, person to person. Okay. Phone calls are a good substitute for that, and I strongly believe, I'm a big firm believer in the phone. Not everybody is, but I find it easy to engage and talk with them, especially if I've sent something out to them that I already know that they're warmed up to you. Okay, I normally don't do cold phone calls, like to people I've never reached out to or sent anything to in any way. Direct mail. I have been playing around with direct mail. I love it. I think it's perfect if you use it in conjunction with the phone, even with email, and even to resupport whatever it is that you were doing digitally, online. Okay, because people have a hard time throwing away stuff. The direct mails that I have sent out include, the sales letter with lumpy mail contents. I've sent out postcards, but I have not sent out, express packages. But I understand that works well as well, also from others. But the sales letters that I've sent out, here's some examples. I sent out that same letter that you saw in digital format. I formatted it and printed it out. Printed out. This came and ended up being 20 pages of pure thick salesman, in text format. And I put this lumpy content. I put these coins on it to make it sort of lumpy and curious. It adds a little bit of what is this kind of factor to it, right? Gets them curious about it. So that's an example of a sales letter. Here's some more examples. I've included some with bugs in it. I got these little trinket bug things, and it says I didn't mean to bug you. Never, these are handwritten note, and I make sure I put that in there, and it's sort of got a little lump to it. Um, Here's another one. That's the coin one that's folded up. Um, you already saw that. And these are the trinket things that I bought. I bought these at the dollar store. Each one of these cost a dollar. I bought marbles. I've these little mini creatures for Halloween. I just tape it to it. Makes it curious. It's cute. The marble things are. It's a cute little touch. And I usually include a note in there that says something like, I know you lost this and a few other of these if I don't hear back from you. Get it? You lost your marbles. So and this it's a hokey, gimmicky little thing. It's just cute. You should know who you're sending it to, though, because I have had one person get all pissed off because he thought I was insulting him, but it was clearly on my part a mistake to send it to somebody. It wasn't even my target audience, so I made a mistake there. Funny story, but let me save that for another time. So yeah, this is what I've sent out. Sent out packets. I usually handwrite the messages, the two, uh, the address where you're sending it to. I usually handwrite that because it looks like it's coming from a person. And for the return address, I include, I've automatically just include this, but it's in a sort of a scripty font, a font that's, it's neat enough, but it doesn't look like it's a business letter. It still looks like somebody did it from their home computer, which is, essentially what I did here. But you could have outsourced that. I could have had somebody else do it. But I am a big believer in getting firsthand um, experience with things, so that I can understand them. So that when I do outsource them, I know what to expect, where I need to be checking on, what things I need to manage, so to speak. The mails and the mailers need to fit through. If you're gonna send this out, it needs to be no more than 1 inch, 1/4 inch thick. So that mail that you saw has to fit through this slot right here, believe it or not. And if it does not, then it does not meet the normal stamp requirement, which is currently at the time of this video about 46 cents. Those letters cost me, I believe, they cost me about $1.32 to send those things out. But what I've tried though, this is all stuff I discovered that the post office kind of, they're in their own little, they have their own uh, what's the word that I'm looking for? It's not set. It's not rigid. It's not set in stone. I've used stuff like these mail kiosks, self-service, and I've gotten away with just 66-cent stamps, just sending them out. And I've even played around with sending them with just one stamp on it to see if it goes through, and it seems to work just fine. Usually, I call up and I'll find out. You can go to a different post office and they'll give you a different price than what you would pay at another post office sometimes. It's so weird. So they're real finicky. I just, just try it. It's worth it. And if you don't want to try it, that's fine too. I think you'll find that you'll do better as you start earning income, though, right? Obviously, and I'll give you some metrics that support why it's worth doing this, even including at later stages. But we'll get to that in just a second. I'm just bouncing around just a little bit. I know I gave you a lot to consider, but mailing out direct mail pieces works just fine. It's still a powerful. I mean, think about it. Google does it, right? Google sends out get $50 off for using AdWords. So does Facebook. So does LinkedIn. They all, Amazon sends you stuff in the mail. Direct mail works. Okay. Don't forget that because it's selling in what's called a vacuum. You're no longer amongst the clutter of other ads and other competing media. You can get it right to them. So lumpy mail, otherwise called 3D mail, is just basically making your mail kind of warped a little bit, bumpy and curious, so that people want to know what's inside, so that they are more engaged and more likely to open it. Okay. Postcards are cheaper, but I haven't used them. There are services out there like SendPepper and Send Out Cards that you can use to manage that service. They're effective. They do work. It's just not something that I've personally used. Express packages, I haven't done that either. Um, Faxing. Faxing is another way to get your mail to people and your emails to people, because businesses are less stringent with the laws than you can't fax blast any more people, B2C customers, retail customers, without having prior consent with them. And again, I'm not a lawyer or anything, but that's my understanding of the gist of it. You may want to look that up. Faxing is a little bit more lax, and I've had good results. You don't need to have your own fax machine to send out faxes. You can use the email. You can send through digital. So you can send your faxes via sites like Free Pop Fax. Let me show you what that looks like here. It's freepopfax.com. They do have some limitations. If you're going to upload a document, it can be no more than 512 kilobytes, which is a substantial amount of pages. It's about 7 or 8 pages or so, and they accept these different formats. Or you can just copy and paste the text and put it in here, enter the security code, and say I read. Complete this, and off it goes. PopFax does have a premium version of it. They're actually advocating, it comes with advertised, sponsored, supported stuff, but it works just fine. Send a fax free.com has no limitations on it that I know of. It's amazing. It works just as well. It's probably a better choice than the free PopFax. I've used them both, but I probably prefer this one because there's less. It just seems to work just fine. They have an upgraded version of this thing called Click to Fax for $4.50 a month, or starting at $4.50 a month, which is pretty cool. So what you do, when you send through fax, and a lot of businesses include their fax numbers on their site, or you can just call up and ask for them, because they're still used to doing stuff like they're still used to doing signed contracts or working with their own suppliers, or getting stuff faxed into them for whatever the business reason is. So they usually have access to fax machines. So it's not as antiquated as a lot of people believe. Fax machines are still alive and well, and still heavily used in business and commerce. So you might as well make use of it, right? It's another way to get your message to your targeted market. Hope you found that useful. Of course, you can use social media. I'm going to actually give you right now video messages work well. So what you can do is a screen capture. You can use something like Jing to capture the screen. I use Screencast-O-Matic now pretty much exclusively when it comes to this. And Camtasia Studio is a pretty good one as well. Not a pretty good one. Camtasia Studio is probably the best in the PC market. But once you've actually captured your screen, however you want to do it, if you're doing something similar to what I'm doing on this video, you can upload it to a site like screencast.com. You just open up your account. I actually sent this to a prospect, I believe about 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, and this guy has been a friend and a client ever since. This was the video that I sent. I'll just play it for you real quick.
Hi Miguel, my name is Carlos Rosario. I came across your moving truck was actually outside of my home office, so I just took the opportunity to go ahead and do some quick research to find out about you guys. I understand that you're not a large chain, which is a good thing. I don't have any moving companies on board yet, so I thought I'd make this quick video, hopefully get you to watch it, and hopefully set up an appointment with you.
You get the gist of what I did, and I basically critiqued the site. I don't want to have you sit through all 5 minutes of this. If you care to watch it, just reach out to me. I'll send it to you. um, but yeah, I sent it over, got an appointment, and collected a check for 800 on the spot, and became a $650 a month client. Um, yeah, and they're it was nice. It was easy. And I reached them using the same methods that I'm showing you here. So I just gave you a whole bunch of ways to get in touch with the prospects once you've actually gotten a compiled list of these new businesses. The phone works just as well, but I would use one of these other medias first, and one of these other choices first. You can also wrestle with a downsell, which is something that I'm using as well as more advanced strategy. It's a deeper part of the funnel, but basically what you're going to do is if they don't want, whatever it is that you're sending to them, you need a reason to connect with them again. So why not try offering them something that's lesser grade? That's basically something that I use that works pretty well. That was the video on 3 ways to contact customers. We're going to talk about services to offer in the next video. Thank you for watching this one. I hope you found value out of this. I hope you found use, and I actually, well, more importantly, I hope you put it to use. I'd love to get your feedback on this, so please keep in touch, keep the conversation going, comment, leave me some feedback. Let me know somebody's out there, and I'd love to get your stories. Stay tuned for the next video. I'll see you there.